Is this artist a tracer or have they unfortunately been accused? Let's take a look at this because there's a case of an artist who draws in the style of Bleach being accused of tracing off of manga panels. And again, before we get into this, don't send hate to any parties involved, okay? So this is the artist in question. They go by the name Isiranos, and these are examples of the artwork they do, Bleach style commissions. So everything kind of kicks off with this in the beginning of December 2025. It's a dispute between them and a client. And I guess instead of resolving this privately with the client, they publicly called out the client, writing, well, after taking 3 days on this commission, not only displeased with the drawing for no apparent reason, apart from asking for countless changes when the drawing was already in the final stage, they also called me a racist. Artists, watch out with this person. So basically, the client points out some characters. I think this commission involved like 12 characters. The client basically says, sorry to ask for something now, but I didn't know you were going to differentiate skin colors because there are two characters in the group with more melanin. So I think it's odd that you colored one in with darker skin and you left the other one white. But basically, they just didn't color the skin in for the other character, right? If it's too much work to color him too, maybe just leave everyone white. So just removing the skin coloring. Sorry to ask something now. I didn't know you were going to add this. Again, referring to the skin color. So Isirnos adds, when working in black and white, only the darkest person is the one whom the screen tone is added. So, to show the fact that they have darker skin. Isirnos adds, in this case, your friend that is light brown, the others can only be differentiated if color is added to it. That is how the line art works. The muscular one, it's really lighter, and that can't be differentiated in the manga. You get me? I think English is not their first language, just reading off of this, by the way, because they are based in Venezuela. So there might be some things lost in translation. And the client adds, I think I get it, but that's only in the cases where others are lighter, as you said here, right? Maybe the image you got as a reference wasn't good, but they share basically the same skin tone. And the client sends an updated photo that's censored out to, I guess, showcase the fact they have the same skin tone. And the artist says, bro, there's no way you're saying this right now. And the artist adds, well, your Chinese friend has the same skin color than him. In contrast from your Indian friend that's more cinnamon color. And the client says, I mean, you calling him Chinese doesn't make his skin color different. Both of them are mixed. Isirinos adds, that is a form of expression that we have in Venezuela. If you're from Venezuela, I would love if you would clarify, I am Chinese, but I am born in the US. My family's from Shanghai. I'm trying to give benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's like a language barrier. I do think it's a bit racist to refer to anybody you think is generically Asian looking as Chinese. That is like a huge racist thing that just happens in like the West. And I'm just assuming probably can be extrapolated to other countries with mixed races where like it's a melting pot of cultures. But like the amount of times like every Asian person has probably experienced the whole random person comes up to you and is like, are you Chinese? This is before K-pop and like Japan became like popular and more fetishized now. Everyone's like, oh, are you Chinese? And you could be like freaking Filipino and just a little pale, and they're immediately gonna call you Chinese. I just think it's odd to randomly be throwing that out, especially in the ripe old year of 2025. I don't know if Venezuela's any different because I've never been there, but just a bit odd. But maybe in DMs there was some explanation where the client was like, oh, this friend is Chinese, this friend is Indian. I don't know, right? But again, the client says, if you don't agree, maybe you could just leave everyone as they were. Coloring one and not the other would not feel right for us. And then the artist says, for us, do you really think all 13 of you would feel offended just because I added color to one person? Or is it only you? Because that's a little bit racist to say at least. And the client says, sure, you're the one invalidating somebody's skin complexion. And then they posted a photo of the client's Twitter page. Like, what do you mean? Look, before we even get into the tracing thing, I understand that as an artist, it can be frustrating if you've completed the piece and then a client comes around wanting extra changes. But this client was so respectful, like, oh, hey, sorry to add this now. I didn't know that you were going to color the skin tone of only one person. Like, is it possible if you could also color in my friend that's also more melanated? But the client said, it's okay if it's too much work, you could just like remove the coloring for the other person. So that's literally a click of a button probably, right? You toggle the layer off, bam, you're done. They seemed really understanding. They just wanted the art pieces to like work for their friend group. I think it's a completely fair ask just to be like, hey, oh, I didn't realize you were gonna color in this person's skin. Could you do it for this other person then? Because their complexion is about the same. This is not an unrealistic ask, I feel, for you as an artist, right? Like, it's not like they wanted you to completely change this person's outfit or completely change their face, something that is not a click of a button toggle off, but actually a lot of reworking. And then again, what happened to the like, oh, just make your clients happy, you know? The client literally said, oh, you know, there's two people in our group who's the most melanated, right? This person, you've already colored their skin in, and this other person, could you just color them in too? But the artist is fighting back, being like, well, this person is light brown and this person is like not as brown as this other person, so I'm not gonna do it. Like, can you not be weird about it? Like, why are you the judge, jury, and executioner of somebody's skin tone? And of course, not everybody's complexion shows well in just one photo. Like sometimes one photo, somebody does look more pale than the other. It's okay to have like made a mistake. Just admit you're wrong, right? I've done art for people. I get a reference photo and I choose a color, and sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes they would like the color darker or lighter, right? And I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. Let me change it for you. It's literally a paint bucket tool. That's right. It's not that much work. I think it's interesting because a lot of the comments are like defending this artist, being like, oh, you put in so much work. So like that's da 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 da. I think the client was really respectful and they offered multiple options, right? Like, oh, just remove the coloring for this other person. And then all of us will have just like no skin tone, and that's fine. It wasn't like they were being demanding. And another user, Sugar, writes, I'm sorry, but you come across as horrible here. The client is right and it's a simple fix. You're being paid to draw what they ask, and this is not an unreasonable request. Do better next time. Also, it's giving I trace the manga. Like one of those hands is just like, and I am so sorry, guys, I've never seen Bleach. Rangakus? I am so sorry. So another person was showcasing like two hands holding swords, being like, oh, you know, like, I think they just reference, I don't think it's like as big of a deal to reference a manga because like, you know, they have like extra poses or whatever that you might not see in real life. But then Sugar adds this side by side, looking a little close here. And then another person says, possibly I'm spitballing here, but she just learned how to draw the style perfectly. And second, yes, they paid for the service. They're absolutely open to changes, but not last minute. Every single time they showed the work, there are limits. She is a person, not a drone. And again, I think that's fair, but at the same time, toggling off one layer is like literally a click of a button. And Sugar adds, they paid almost $400 for this. So maybe, hey, can you change this? Isn't unreasonable. Also, oh, and this is the side by side. Why do their faces look like, I don't know, exactly the same? I think, look, like, again, the client said, sorry to add something now. I didn't know you were going to add this. So like, people in the comments are saying things like, oh, well, like, maybe they knew about this and then the artist sent them this revision and they only just sprung the change on. But it looks like the artist just added the skin tone layer for this one person that the client didn't know was going to be added. So the client maybe was like, oh yeah, like cool, nobody's skin is colored in, that's chill, fine, we'll leave it. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a sec, hold up. And I just think it's odd, finally, that if you had a dispute with the client, like the client seemed very respectful, and then you go and post all the DMs publicly, and then you post their Twitter page also. Like people have done that for nightmare clients, and I think that is fair so that other people know to not commission this person. But this person's request seems very reasonable. Now, in defense of these two, right, the drawing and the panel looking really similar, Acerno says, out of respect for privacy for these people, I can't publish the photos, but this person literally looks like Uryu, and there is a similarity between the drawing made and the person. It is impossible to not notice it, which, sure. And then the artist adds, the overall commission price was $212. And then Acernos adds, and where's the evidence? Because I can show you everything I have here in chat. So here the artist sends the finished piece, which again, you can see this person does not have their skin colored in. And the client says, ooh, final version, I love it. And then the artist says, I'm adding extra details, here you go. And the client says, it looks so good. And then the client also said, they don't really like to spend money, but I'll suggest we pay you to color the drawing. Would you be willing to do that? And Iserino says, I can do it, yes. Benefit of doubt, best case scenario, maybe there's just a breakdown in communication here where the artist took this as assuming, okay, cool, we color in one person. Thumbs up. I still think the client is in the right because the client approved this. This is at least what the artist posted. The client approved this. Nobody's skin's colored in here. So if you went ahead and made a change, you can't be upset the client that signed off on the work is now, wait a second here, because you changed something they didn't know you changed. Also, again, I'm just confused about like the artist doubling down about the whole Chinese thing. They're saying, excuse you, if you don't know about Venezuelan expressions, then don't comment. Is it like a common Venezuelan expression to call people Chinese? Because I think that's a bit racist if it is. I'm just saying, as a Chinese person, I'm not going around calling people, I don't know, like Korean when you're not Korean. Even if you are Korean, like me bringing it up randomly out of the blue with no reason is just odd. But then there was another call out that came out. So this person, Liz, posts, I don't normally make posts pertaining to drama, but I can no longer stay silent on this as I see countless friends of mutuals get scammed with trace commissions from Isirinos. They add that Isirinos is a well-known artist in the Bleach and OC community who takes commissions. However, most are traced, and that they've been called out in the past, and people call that person jealous. But realistically, how much more can we pretend this stuff is not traced and blatant plagiarism? So here we have the side-by-side, one panel from Bleach, Isirinos' work. That don't look good. By the way, I just want to add that there's like a lot of people who think tracing manga panels is okay. Look, there's a lot of nitpicky this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Like, let me explain this again. A fair amount of people trace manga panels. It is a common thing that people do trace. Does that make it okay? Depends. If you're tracing it to learn from a famous mangaka whose style you really, really look up to, and you don't post it and claim it as your own and sell it as a commission, fine, right? Great to learn. Tracing is a method to learn how to draw. That's something people have done for a long time. If you trace and post it publicly and claim it's your own art, if you, even worse, trace and then sell it as a commission, do we forget that like a manga is still made by an artist? There is still a mangaka slash multiple involved in the creation process whose art you're taking credit for. Just because it's a really popular piece of media doesn't suddenly make it okay to trace it and then claim it as your own and then on top of that sell it as a commission. Tracing to learn? Fine. Looking at manga panels as a reference, that's fine. Tracing it one-to-one, not fine. So Liz adds, please watch to the end as a transformation slash tweak makes the images align. This one's a 50-50. Maybe they reference, right? People always make the argument, if you have to like transform and stretch the piece that it's not traced. Possibly. This is a way people get away with tracing though, because they do try to distort the image, try to get away with it. Look, on its own, if you have to distort and crush an image to fit a reference image, take it with a grain of salt, truly, 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 because almost every art piece can be like skeletonized in a way to fit another art piece. But we did just see a one-to-one overlap also, so there is that. Is there a point where referencing goes too far? The bump of the collarbone, the shaping of the eyebrow here with that curvature, it's all the same. But maybe this person is just a humongous Bleach fan, so that's why they're just giga referencing the art, you know? Here's another one. See, like, if it ends up looking like this, like, we've got exact one-to-ones going on here. Exact one-to-one. The whole face is the same. Liz adds, it clearly won't always be a clean one-to-one, but as we can see, there is clearly a pattern of tracing, and the fact these are all commissions is upsetting to me. Another side-by-side. This one you might be able to call a reference. You know, this one is also exactly the same. They just changed the position of the eyes, but OP continues. There is many more instances in which Isirino is clearly tracing, and I'm sure when you see her work, you can tell which manga panel it belongs to. She hides behind, quote, being able to draw like Kubo, end quote, to get away with tracing. But even then, there's so many inconsistencies within her artwork. If you truly have mastered Kubo's work, there would not be as many noticeable inconsistencies within your work. There's nothing inherently wrong with tracing real-life people, which is why I won't include those. But tracing his work and other mangaka's work, claiming it as your own, and selling it is extremely shameless. You are scamming your clients and cheating yourself. Isirinos is capable of drawing for herself, and yet every time she chooses not to and continues to trace. There's many more again, but I'm not going through the trouble of showing more after having these presented already. Please be careful of who you trust to commission with and give your money to not be scammed. So after that, Isirinos came out with their side of the story. They write, one, I want to clarify this over here because the amount of hate messages is already unacceptable. Which again, don't send hate to anybody. Don't wish bad things upon anybody, okay? That's not cool. Don't do that. So Isirinos continues, I have been drawing in the style of Bleach since I was 11 years old. You can see it in this drawing that I made in 2013, which looks the same as Toshiro. I learned this way. So here are some points that Isirino had made in Discord. Writing, one, if I'm asked to make a reference, I will be guided and oriented by doing that myself. I have the image of the characters mentally because I have years of drawing in the same style as Kubo. I have no idea what this is. A horrible number of people have left me insults and asked me for money when it's not like that. Three, just like somebody else, I were defamed in the past. Again, I'm pretty sure English isn't their first language, so I understand that they are doing the same thing to me. But by God, I draw like that. I mean, on a complete side note, I just think it's very interesting because, you know, they came out guns blazing with a call out post about their client that had a very reasonable request. But oh no, you know, how dare somebody do that to me? Oh no. My drawings are similar, but I learned by drawing the drawings of Kubo when I was a child, and I no longer do so. Yeah, so they admitted they traced, right? Which, like, I'm gonna be so honest, so straightforward. I feel like every artist at some point traced an artist they liked, okay? Most of us did it as kids. I traced Pokemon. I have a bunch of trace drawings of Tentacool when I was like 12, right? Like, oh wow, Pokemon, so cool. Da 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 da. In Serenos ads, there's a huge number of people who are not following me anymore, and worse, they are blocking and insulting me without giving me the right to defend myself. When I try very hard to do something of quality for someone, and it's completely unfair that because my art is the same, I mean, clearly it's the same. I've seen Bleach since the manga came out and have been practicing the style since I was a child. It's natural that it resembles so much, and I uploaded my first drawings to Twitter that I made in 2013. Well, I do think this is also like a grave that you dug, you know? Like, if you only referenced one piece of media, you only reference one mangaka, and that is all you've done, and you advertise yourself as an artist who draws in the Bleach style, that is like what you wanted, right? You wanted the art to look the same. But they continue. The way I learned to draw as many is seeing. As well as many, I read the manga every day, and when something is not drawn, I relax and try the next day. Is it the same? Yes and no. I've tried a lot to achieve it that way. But make a video and edit as if I were a living thesis to expose myself without giving myself the right to speak for this girl, or even send me a DM to talk about it, to send her the videos of the make-off, and if she does not feel convinced, okay, expose me. But this has already gone too far to the point of wishing me death and a scammer and a number of customers asking me for reimbursements. Bro, this is too bad. Okay, that was really long-winded, but I think they're just frustrated that an expose was made about them without them, one, being contacted first, and two, having a chance to say their side, which, like, I mean, I disagree. You could say your side publicly, which is exactly what they're doing. And two, I mean, again, you publicly made a call out about your client who had a, in my opinion, very reasonable request to toggle off the skin tone layer or may just color in the other friend that also has the same complexion. Right? Like, you came out guns blazing on this client. Did you privately tell them, I'm gonna make a call out video about you if you don't retract your unreasonable request? The client even later said, you know what, fine, I'll take the art piece as is, it's okay. So, like, do until thee, but not unto me type stuff, you know? And also, about the previous call out that Iserinos was under scrutiny for, this was a month ago in December. There's some people, I won't say names, that are saying my drawings and commissions are AI. Perhaps they don't want to accept that I really draw like this. These videos are from my followers. So here they're tracing off of a real person. Where did the head come in? Let me slow this video down. Where did we get the head? Just wondering. We go from this. Again, people sketch off like actual photos. I would hope maybe, you know, if you're gonna like exactly, you know, reference the person that you have the rights to this picture, but that's a whole side point. Boom! Random head pops in. Where do we get that? This is how their art pieces look like when they color it in, okay? So going back to what they were talking about with their client, when the client was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna see if my friends are gonna be down to pay for you to color it in. This is, I'm pretty sure, what they meant. Not color in only one of my friends in screen tone and not anybody else. Here's another drawing they did, right? We have a kid spawn in a mask. I don't think this is something they drew, right? This is like something they added to trace over because it comes out of nowhere. Where is this coming from? Okay, so you add a photo of a sword to trace, an image, I guess, to color select off of. Is this to like color select the hair color? I feel like this is not clearing your name up. No, because we know you be tracing stuff in your art, which, like, I already don't think you should be tracing stuff you don't have the rights to in your pieces. That's just me personally. What's to say you don't stick in a manga panel and trace it in here? You know what I mean? Like, but about the, hey, there's extra evidence, but I feel like I don't need to post it. Well, someone else did. This individual came out with a whole thread. Yikes, there's more proof of trace commissions and stuff. Since at this point, I don't think anything is original. Oh, wait, the face lines up one-to-one. Oh, this also lines up one-to-one. The whole face shape is traced here. Albeit, like, other aspects of the character is different, right? Like, different hair, but the whole face is traced again. Again, the face is traced. An individual posted, hey bro, you know, like, if the call-out post about you tracing was wrong, I would love to see like a full clarification, GIF or video of your art process. Oh, what'd you know? Conveniently, they say they use a non-paid version of Ibis Paint. So unfortunately, their tablet version doesn't support it. And when they finish a job, they have to delete it because the last time the glitch was horrible. So I guess they don't have any recent speed paints. The only one is the one that I've showed you. But yeah, they've kind of gone on like a massive crash out on Twitter, like basically quote retweeting everybody and like talking about this, that, and the third, like fighting air kind of. Wild. I also think it's so interesting because this artist, again, went on and on about like they didn't contact me, whatever. So they sent like a big old DM to the person who made the big call out post, right? Liz. But basically, they kind of went in DMs with Liz and absolutely crashed out and was like, how dare you? You didn't tell me that you're gonna make this call out doc. Now, like, people want reimbursements, blah, 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 blah. Which, like, I'm gonna be real, right? Like, again, one, if you're gonna go and trace art for commissions, we have like direct overlays of your art and manga panels from Bleach. If you're gonna do that, your commissions aren't legitimate. The money you earned wasn't even legitimately earned in the first place. So, like, you're just mad you couldn't keep it, honestly. But then the second thing is, again, the absolute hypocrisy because of what you did to your client, publicly calling them out when you, to be honest, were just being racist, right? You didn't view their other friend as like brown enough to be colored in. So you made the artistic choice to only color in one person that wasn't even asked for, by the way, because that was not what the client asked for. This is just so odd. And then trigger warning for hospitalization and ending ideations. They had posted these to their Twitter that, from what I've seen, is now deleted. Writing, right now I'm hospitalized. I will make an answer and I will show you that I am not a scammer. My pressure rose so high that I have severe bleeding. When I recover, I will show you in my videos my full potential. Is this thumb to a blood pressure monitor? Like, I'm sorry if this is true that you're hospitalized due to severe bleeding from high blood pressure, but like they strap this on you for a routine checkup to check your blood pressure, which I need to go back in for my yearly checkup. This is in Discord, they write. So I'll leave forever because now my psychiatric diagnosis is a lie for some. I effing want to end it all. It's better. So bye and thanks for everything. This person is clearly unwell and there's like a history of interesting behavior of their art pieces lining up, Bleach manga panels. But honestly, the big one is this really all seemed to have started because they publicly called out a client for a quick change the client added, acting like it's like pulling an arm and a leg and stuff like that. Where also is interesting, and this one, Venezuela's like economy is really upside down, but Venezuela's minimum wage is $3 a month, which is like, first off, abysmal. Nobody's minimum wage should be that low, ever. If you're raking in like a couple hundred USD for commissions, you are making astronomically above, your minimum wage. You're doing good for yourself, right? Like, so what's the harm in doing a one-click toggle the layer off type thing to make your client happy? Instead of putting out a big old call-out post because you're mad they wanted one change. So anyways, what are your thoughts on this entire situation? I just think the irony is so interesting. Hopefully they can stop tracing. I try to be optimistic. With the way this person's going, I don't think they're gonna stop, to be honest. But this is just to note, if you are somebody that's received a commission from somebody and you've gotten something traced, it's not your fault. You didn't know and you didn't do anything wrong. You just tried to commission an artist who you liked and respected, and they took advantage of you, and that is truly unfortunate. So don't send hate to any parties involved. That is not cool. We don't do that. Don't be stooping that low, but just be aware. So if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators. I also have a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week. I've changed the Wednesday to a Thursday. So now it's Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you all there or in another video. Peace.